Yeah, there was a big landslide victory for the opposition in South Korea, like a big one. Oh, do we get a nice video to introduce the topic? I love that.
The president was dealt a resounding blow on Wednesday. South Korea's conservative president was dealt a resounding blow on Wednesday as the country's liberal opposition scored a landslide victory in a parliamentary election. The Liberals were projected to fall just short of the 200 seats needed for a supermajority, but their win likely means political gridlock ahead for President Yoon Suk-yeol. Main opposition Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-myung thanked supporters and called it a great victory for our people. Lee had led a combative campaign against Yoon. He urged Yoon's party to work together with the opposition towards an economic recovery, calling it their top priority. The ruling People Power Party was set to win just 108 seats. President Yoon, who took office in May 2022, was not up for election this time, but the bitterly fought race was seen by some analysts as a referendum on his leadership.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the legislative.
Coming as Yoon's popularity falters under a cost of living crisis and a series of political scandals. Yoon humbly accepted the election results and pledged to renew his administration, his chief of staff said. His party's leader, Han Dong-hoon, took responsibility for the loss and said he would step down. Prime Minister Han Duck-soo and other senior aides.
Yeah, here we go. So this is the 2020 legislative election in South Korea with the blue and the red, as compared to in 2024, where it seems there are way. Yeah, hold on. People's Party and the DPK, but over here is United Future the People's Party? Is that the same? The alliance, that's the coalition? Okay, gotcha. United Future is the coalition. So 163.84 and 176, 108. You know, honestly, just looking at these maps, that's not giving me a really good picture of how much of a blowout this was. But what I've heard is that it is, so I want to look more into that. Let me see if I can find that.
Also offered to resign, according to Yonhap News. Political science professor Lee Jun-han of Incheon National University says the poll is seen as a midterm election, with voters sending a message that the government's economic policies were failing. He said Yoon's hands will now be even more tied than before when it comes to moving his...
Here we go. Okay, yeah. I wasn't getting the information from the maps on their own, but in the 2020 South Korean legislative election, it was pretty much a deadlock here, see? With 123 to the Democratic Party and 122 to the United Future Party, but all of these together were in coalition. So they were in charge. But now it's 156. Wait, last election before election. Last election before election. Sorry, is my brain running at half power? Why is this not tracking to me? What is this? Last election, then there's 3 separate tallies here? Does this have something to do with their coalition? Having a strong... Yeah, it seems so. The lose reps before the election, like resignations. Well, the important part is that it went good for the good people, I assume. Little Nug, shut the fuck up. This hasn't been updated yet, they're projected. So the information that we have right now is just from exit polling. Like the exit polling, we already know they got blown out, but not all the information's been finalized. That makes sense. Okay, thank you. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. I appreciate that. Okay. All right.
His plans forward.
With the opposition at nearly 190 seats, I think the difficulties with passing legislation, budget, and state administration will continue in the future.
Analysts expect the Liberals to block policies that include tax cuts for businesses.
Nice.
Yoon still has 3 years to go in his 5-year single term allowed by the Constitution.
Yeah, we talked about this recently, but South Korea is literally dying. Like, the birth rate is something like 0.7 over there. It's not okay. It's not good. A lot of this has to do with rampant misogyny, and a lot of it also has to do with a blighted work culture mixed with social conservatism that keeps men and women from interacting with each other in normal ways. You know, it's pretty bad. I think there are similarities in Victus, but my understanding is that in basically every way we've criticized Japan, South Korea is worse. Look, never forget, man, okay? We did a bit of a deep dive into social conservatism and reactionary movements in South Korea and found out that there are video games that have had to edit animations and player models because to some people in South Korea, this gesture is considered to be a hate symbol because it's meant to be a mockery of men having small penises. That's not a joke. There are companies that have changed game assets to avoid incurring the hate from that group. Which again, yeah. Yes, and as I only learned in that segment, porn is illegal in South Korea, which probably doesn't help the situation much. My understanding of the data is that the legality of porn corresponds positively to a bunch of different social metrics. And by positively, I mean the outcomes are good, not that things just go up. Excuse me. Unironic, weak men create hard times, but the weak men are the fascists. Yeah, that it turns out that historical that paradigm actually works as long as you plug the right people in. Why do anti-porn people not talk about the success of South Korea? Yeah, I wonder if the 0.7 birth rate would be something they'd like to... Yeah, man, once we get rid of the degeneracy of porn, you know, created by them in order to suppress the white man, we too could enjoy the blisteringly, you know, high reproductive rate and civilizational success of... Then you see like a dead country. North Korea is doing better. When it comes to the birth rate, at least, I think. Well, hopefully a victory for the liberal candidate will play out well in the long run. Yes, Nick. Do you think better social integration of boys and girls in schools would help relations between men and women? Yes. There is no reason to believe that gender norms are in any way improved by keeping men and women separate. I don't know if men and women are kept separate in Korean schools, mind you, but if they were, that would explain a lot. So is it just a thing for South Korean politicians to wear non-formal jackets? They're wearing like workers' jackets here. And this is like a sports bomber, you know? They look cool. Yeah, varsity bomber, thank you. Given his likely lame duck status, the temptation for Yoon will be to focus on foreign policy, where he will have statutory power. Okay, so because their legislature is majority liberal and their president is conservative, they're saying there's going to be a gridlock and not much is going to get done legislatively. But since Yoon still has the ability to operate autonomously when it comes to foreign policy stuff, he will declare war on North Korea. Gotcha. Well, I guess not declare war on, re-engage in conflict with. So that's what's going to happen now, I guess. Hopefully the liberal majority in the legislature somehow cracks down on the doctors protesting. Those with gender segregation in schools. In South Korea, many educational settings are sex segregated, either at the school-wide or classroom level. Might not match their gender identity. Oh, is this mostly about like LGBT rights? Yeah, it seems so. Yeah, probably not. Masagui. Okay, no longer.